The jungle of Varrock 7 was never silent. Every hour something growled, hissed, or screamed as if the planet wanted to remind all living things that survival was not a gift, it was a fight. Poison clouds drifted through trees that dripped with burning sap. The ground shook whenever the giant horn beasts moved. Even the rivers poisoned anything foolish enough to drink from them. But for Rixa, this was home. She walked through the thick, dark forest with a confidence no other creature dared to show. Her skin was marked with old battle scars, and her yellow eyes glowed slightly in the shadows. She moved with the strength and balance of someone born to fight. Since childhood, everyone told her the same thing. You are the only Deathworlder. No one else in the galaxy is like you. She believed it. On Varrock 7, she had survived storms that melted metal, creatures that snapped trees in half, and nights when the sky rained acid. If she was not a Deathworlder, then who was? But tonight, something felt wrong. Rixa froze. Her ears twitched. The wind carried a strange sound, metal ripping, engines dying, and then a crash. A big one. The sky flashed bright orange for a moment as something fell from orbit and smashed somewhere deep inside the jungle. Rixa had explored this whole region. No ship ever came here. No visitor survived long enough. So who or what had crashed? Her curiosity pushed her forward. She moved through the thick vines, avoiding poison thorns and stepping over glowing mushrooms that exploded on touch. She moved silently, blending with the dark. Soon she saw smoke rising between broken trees. Rixa climbed a large stone cliff and looked down. Below her lay a wrecked escape pod, half shattered and burning from inside. Sparks flew into the air. The glass canopy had cracked open. Something was moving near the wreck slowly. Carefully, a figure stood up. Rixa felt her chest tighten. It was not an alien species she knew. It was not a creature of Varrock-7. It looked almost fragile. 2 legs, 2 arms, no claws, no scales. No natural armor, a human. Rixa had only heard stories about them. Soft creatures. Weak bones, short lifespans. Non-combat species, but as she watched, her belief began to break. The human later she would learn his name was Evan Carter, pulled himself out of the burning pod. He coughed, wiped blood from his forehead, and grabbed a metal shard from the wreck side. He held it like a knife. Rixa narrowed her eyes. He was hurt, breathing hard, yet his stance was solid. His eyes scanned the jungle, sharp and focused. He was not panicking, not screaming. He was preparing to fight. Just then, something huge moved in the darkness behind him. A shadow beast 4 meters tall stepped into the clearing. Its black fur glistened with toxic slime. 4 glowing eyes locked onto the human. Rixa whispered to herself, "He will die in seconds." But Evan didn't run. He turned to face the beast, standing between it and the escape pod, as if protecting the broken machine mattered more than his own life. The beast roared, shaking leaves and forcing birds into flight. Evan didn't flinch. He whispered something. She couldn't hear, but his grip on the metal shard tightened. When the beast charged, Evan dodged to the side with surprising speed. He wasn't fast enough to kill it, but he was fast enough to survive. He slashed at its leg as it ran past him. The beast howled in pain. Rixa blinked in shock. That cut from a weak metal piece? She whispered. The human rolled on the ground, grabbed a burning cable from the escape pod, and wrapped it around the beast's neck. Electricity surged through the air. The beast screamed and collapsed, smoke rising from its body. Evan dropped to his knees, exhausted but alive. Silence fell again. Rixa stared at him for a long moment. Nothing in her training or her life had prepared her for this. A soft species was never supposed to survive a shadow beast. No species without claws or natural armor could win a fight like that. But he did. Rixa slowly climbed down the cliff, staying hidden behind trees. Her heart beat faster than she liked. Fear? No. Shock? Maybe, she whispered to herself. This is impossible. Humans are not Deathworlders. Yet she had just watched one fight like he'd lived on Varrock 7 since birth. She moved closer, stepping lightly on broken leaves. Evan heard her. He snapped around instantly, raising the shard again, ready to attack. His eyes tired but sharp locked on her hiding place. Who's there? He shouted. Rix, stopped in her tracks. No fear in his voice, no weakness, only readiness. The jungle wind moved between them. For the first time in her life, Rixa felt something she never expected. She was not alone. She was not the only Deathworlder, and the moment she stepped out of the shadows to face him, her world would change forever. The moment Rixa stepped into the clearing, the jungle seemed to hold its breath. The smoke from the escape pod drifted between them like a thin curtain, glowing orange in the firelight. Evan's eyes widened when he saw her shape, tall, scarred, glowing eyes, sharp movements. She looked like the type of creature his survival manual told him to avoid. But Rixa was equally unsure. She stood still, both hands open to show she wasn't attacking. Yet her muscles were tense, ready to strike if needed. Her heart thumped hard, not from fear, but from something stranger. Curiosity. Confusion. A challenge she never expected. Evan was the first to speak. Are you friendly? He said in a cautious voice. His question surprised her. Most creatures on Varrock 7 attacked first, spoke never. Rixa tilted her head. If I was not friendly, you would be dead already. Evan blinked. Okay, that's honest. She took one step closer. Instantly, Evan raised the metal shard again. He wasn't shaking. He wasn't nervous. He looked like someone used to dangerous situations. Rixa frowned. Why was he not scared of her? His heart rate was steady. His posture was calm. Her instincts warned her. This human was not normal. Evan pointed the shard toward her, but didn't attack. Stay where you are, he said. Just until I know what you want. Rixa crossed her arms, confused. What I want, she repeated. I just saved you. You were watching, Evan said. Not saving. Her eyes narrowed. So he had noticed her presence, even while fighting the shadow beast. That alone told her everything. This human had survival instincts sharp enough for a death world. Rixa sighed. Fine, I was watching. But if I wanted you dead, I would have let the beast eat you. Evan lowered the shard slightly, thinking. Fair point. They stood facing each other, both waiting for the other to make the next move. The fire from the escape pod crackled. Poison mist drifted through the trees. Far away something growled. Rixa spoke first. You should not stay out here. Night is coming. I noticed, Evan said, glancing around. Everything here looks like it wants me gone. Rixa could not stop herself from laughing softly. Everything here wants you dead, human. Evan raised a brow. Right, good to know. He pulled himself up, using the pod for support. His right leg was bleeding. Rixa saw the wound and instinctively stepped forward to help. Evan froze. Don't come closer. Rixa stopped instantly. Why? I said I will not harm you. And I said I don't know that yet, he replied firmly. Different species, different rules. Rixa stared at him for a long moment. No alien had ever been bold enough to say something like that to her. Finally she said, If I wanted to harm you, you would not be able to stop me. Evan gave a small smile, half sarcastic, half impressed. Thanks for the reminder. Her frustration grew. Why was communicating with him more difficult than fighting a shadow beast? She exhaled slowly. Human, you will not survive this jungle without me. Evan wiped blood from his forehead. Maybe, but I don't trust easily. Rixa stepped back, giving him space. Then watch me carefully. Decide for yourself. He seemed to think about it. Then he slowly lowered the shard. Not fully. Just enough to show he was willing to listen. Rixa crouched near the wounded leg. May I? Evan hesitated. If you hurt me, you will shout loud enough for the whole jungle to hear. She interrupted dryly. That made him laugh for the first time. She inspected the cut. Poison mist had entered it. If untreated, it would spread. She took a sharp leaf from her belt and squeezed thick green liquid into his wound. Evan flinched. That burns. It's supposed to, Rixa said. It kills poison. He watched her silently as she worked. Even though she had claws and strange glowing eyes, her hands were gentle, precise. She tied a strip of her own cloth around his leg. You're surprisingly good at this, Evan said. She shrugged. On my planet, we learn or we die. Evan glanced around. I'm starting to understand. When she finished, she stood back up. We need shelter. The night predators will come soon. Evan looked at the burning pod behind him. This thing is half melted. It won't hold. Rixa pointed to a rocky cave nearby. There. But we must move fast. Evan tried to stand but almost fell. Rixa caught his arm before he hit the ground. For a moment they both froze his hand. Gripping her wrist, her eyes meeting his, Evan exhaled. Okay, maybe I do need your help, Rixa nodded. Good, at least you are smart. He gave a short, tired smile. Humans usually are. On good days. With Rixa supporting him, they moved toward the cave. The jungle roared behind them, as if warning them they had only moments before nightfall swallowed everything. Evan limped forward, leaning on her only when absolutely necessary, still stubborn, still alert, still watching her every move. Mistrust was not gone. But something had changed. For the first time, Rixa realized. She wasn't carrying a weak outsider. She was walking beside someone who might be just as dangerous as her. The cave was colder than Evan expected. The stone walls were sharp and wet, and every sound echoed like someone whispering from the dark. Rixa moved first, scanning the space with slow, controlled steps. Evan followed, his breathing uneven but steady. Even in the dim light, she could see he was trying not to rely on her too much. Typical human stubbornness. Rixa cleared the entrance, checking for hidden creatures. It's safe enough, she said. For now. Evan dropped down near a flat rock. Safe enough. That's comforting. She ignored the comment. The jungle outside was growing louder the start of night. Creatures screamed, branches cracked, and something massive thumped against the distant ground. Rixa sat near the cave's mouth, watching the outside darkness thicken. Evan watched her. She sensed his eyes on her, suspicious eyes. Calculating eyes. Finally he spoke. So, are you planning to kill me later? Or only if I annoy you? Rixa's head snapped toward him. What? He raised his hands, just clearing doubts. She stared at him for a moment before sighing. Human, if I wanted you dead, I would not waste time talking. So you're saying I'm safe? No, she corrected. You are less unsafe. Evan nodded slowly. Fair, very. His dry humor always surprised her. No creature on Varrock 7 joked about death. They either survived or became food. But this human, he treated danger like an old friend. It fascinated her more than she liked. Rixa finally said, You fought the shadow beast like you knew its movements. I didn't, Evan answered simply. She blinked. Then how did you survive? He shrugged lightly. I guessed. Rixa stared at him, unsure whether to be impressed or worried. He guessed against a creature that kills trained hunters. Humans, she realized, were unpredictable. Evan opened a small emergency kit from his pocket and pulled out a metallic square. It glowed weak blue. Rixa leaned closer. What is that? Radiation beacon, he said. If it stays blue, the air is safe. She snorted. On Varrock 7, nothing is safe. He gave her a look. You live here. You must be used to this place. No one gets used to a death world, she replied. We just learn faster than others die. He paused, absorbing her words. Then he said quietly, Your world is cruel. Rixa looked toward the dark jungle. It is only honest. A sudden thump echoed near the cave entrance. Evan reached for the shard instantly. Rixa quietly lifted a long bone-handled blade she kept hidden behind her belt. Both stood back to dash back. Another thump. Then a low growl. Something followed us. Evan whispered. Rixa nodded. Night stalkers. They hunt in silence. That wasn't silent, Evan muttered. That was a warning. Silence. Then a long shadow crawled across the cave entrance. Rixa's muscles tightened like steel. She whispered, Do not run. They like chasing fear. Evan exhaled. Good to know, and very comforting. The creature stepped into view, thin, long arms, glowing teeth, skin like stretched leather. It hissed and took another step. Rixa stood, ready to strike. Evan stood ready to defend. For a moment, she expected him to panic. Every off-worlder panicked. Even some Varrock hunters panicked, but Evan stayed calm. Too calm, Rixa whispered. You feel no fear? Oh, I feel it, Evan said. Softly, I just don't listen to it. The creature leapt. Rixa lunged faster, slamming her blade against its shoulder. The beast screeched but did not fall. It turned toward Evan. Evan moved without hesitation. He grabbed a burning ember from the pod wreck earlier in his pocket still. Hot enough, and smashed it into the beast's eye. The Night Stalker shrieked and thrashed. Rixa swung her blade and finished it with one clean strike. Silence fell again. Evan leaned against the wall, catching his breath. Rixa wiped the blade on the ground. You fight strangely, she said. I take that as a compliment. It is not one, she replied. You fight with no pattern, no form, yet it works. She couldn't deny it. Twice now he had helped her kill things that normally tore creatures apart. She sat beside him, not too close, not too far. We must stay together until sunrise. Agreed, Evan said. This world obviously hates me. It hates everyone. He looked at her. Even you? She paused. Especially me. Evan was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, So, what now? You guard one side, I guard the other. Rixa surprised herself by answering, No, we guard together. He lifted an eyebrow. Together? Only because I don't want to. Carry your corpse, she added immediately. Evan laughed, tired, breathless, but real. Then I promise I won't die tonight. Rixa felt something strange in her chest. Not attraction, not trust. Something different, a recognition. He was dangerous. But not because of his strength, because he chose to stand with her instead of behind her. As the night deepened and the outside jungle screamed with hungry predators, the two of them sat shoulder to shoulder, two strangers from different worlds, forced to cooperate by a planet that wanted them dead. But without saying it, both understood one truth. If they wanted to survive, they needed each other. The first light of sunrise touched the cave slowly, turning the sharp rocks orange. The screams of night predators faded one by one, retreating back into the deeper jungle. For the first time since Evan crashed, the world felt quieter. Rixa stretched her arms, checking her wounds, none serious. But Evan looked exhausted. His eyes were red, his injury still hurting, and yet he held himself straight with the stubborn pride she was starting to recognize as human. He didn't complain even once during the long night. Rixa respected that, even if she didn't say it out loud. Evan stood near the cave entrance, staring at the green and yellow sky. His breathing slowed, like he was thinking deeply. You look troubled, Rixa said. He didn't turn. Just thinking, about what? He hesitated, and that alone surprised her. Evan spoke easily about danger and fought easily against death, but something made him silent now. Finally he said, Back home. We survive too, just in different ways. Rixa stepped closer. Your home is Earth? Yes, she remembered. The stories. Earth was supposed to be a simple world. A place of water, forests, big cities, ordinary life. She frowned. Earth is not a death world. Evan let out a small breathy laugh. Depends on who you ask. Now she was curious. Explain. Evan leaned against the cave wall, his voice calm but heavy. Humans come from a world full of storms, volcanoes, freezing winters, heat that kills, diseases that wiped out entire groups, animals bigger than us, oceans that try to drown everything. Rixa blinked. But humans have no claws, no fangs, no armor. Exactly, Evan said. So we learned something else. Rixa's eyes narrowed. What? He looked directly at her. Adaptation. The word sat between them, strong and simple. Evan continued. We don't survive because we're stronger. We survive because we learn, faster than anything else. Rixa felt something shift inside her. He wasn't bragging. He wasn't trying to sound powerful. He was speaking truth. A dangerous truth. Humans were not strong because of their bodies. They were strong because of their minds. And that's why you survived the shadow beast. She asked quietly. That's why I survived everything before. This place too, he said. Rixa studied him carefully. His posture, his eyes, the way he observed every sound in the forest. It matched something she knew well, survivor instinct, natural alertness, battle readiness, like her own kind. She sat beside him. All my life I believed I was the only Deathworlder. My people told me so. Maybe they were wrong, Evan said. Rixa shook her head slowly. They were not wrong. Varrock 7 is a death world. Almost no species can live here. And yet, Evan said, I'm still standing. That simple sentence hit her harder than any beast ever did. She studied him quietly. Human. Are all of you like this? Not all, Evan admitted. Some are stronger, some weaker. But humans have one thing that makes us dangerous. Rixa leaned in. What? Curiosity, he said. We always move forward. Even when we should run away. She suddenly understood. He didn't crash on her world by accident. He came because humans explore everything, danger or not. So you walked into danger willingly, she said. Evan shrugged. Pretty much. Rixa stared at him amazed. Your species is insane. Evan smiled. We get that a lot. The cave grew brighter with daylight. Rixa stood and walked a few steps outside. The jungle steam rose from the ground. Small creatures retreated into their nests. She spoke without turning. You do not fit the galaxy's stories about humans. Probably because most stories are written by species who never met one properly. Rixa touched the scar on her shoulder, the one she got from a storm beast when she was 10. That day, she believed she was the strongest creature alive. Now, she wasn't so sure. She turned to him. Evan, are there humans stronger than you? He paused. Physically? Yes. Mentally? Some. Emotionally? Definitely. No, Rixa said, voice firm. I mean, stronger in spirit. Evan looked surprised. Then he smiled gently. Yes, many. A chill ran through Rixa's spine. Many humans like him. Many with minds sharp enough to survive death worlds. If that was true, the galaxy had misunderstood humans completely. Rixa said softly, if the galaxy learns this, they will fear your species. Evan looked at her with calm eyes. They already fear yours, she blinked. And now I fear yours. He stepped closer, not aggressively, but with quiet confidence. Don't. Fear leads to mistakes. And if we're going to survive this place, we can't afford mistakes. His voice was steady, grounding her like an anchor. She swallowed. So, what do we do next? Evan pointed to the jungle. We find water, food, and a way to fix my beacon. If we boost the signal, my ship might find us. Rixa nodded slowly. Then we survived together. Evan smiled, half tired, half excited. Together works. For the first time in her life, Rixa felt something she had never felt before. Not strength, not pride, not fear. Hope. And she hated how powerful that felt. Because hope was dangerous. Hope made you trust. Hope made you care, and caring made you weak. But as she walked beside the human who fought shadow beasts with fire and fought fear with stubborn courage, she realized maybe weakness was not always a bad thing. Maybe humans were the missing piece she never knew she needed. The jungle of Varrock 7 was quieter in the afternoon, but the silence wasn't peaceful. It was the kind that comes before something terrible. Birds hid. Insects stopped buzzing. Even the poison mist thinned, as if frightened to exist. Rixa sensed it immediately. "We are being watched," she whispered. Evan tightened the strap on his wounded leg. "By what?" Rixa didn't answer. Her eyes scanned the trees slow, focused. Deadly. Not a beast, not a storm, not a native predator. Something smarter, something foreign. She motioned for Evan to stay low and crouched behind a thick stone pillar covered in glowing moss. Evan followed quietly. He had learned to mimic her movements, not perfect, but good enough that she didn't correct him anymore. The ground trembled slightly. Then a faint metallic click echoed through the forest. Evan whispered, "That's not natural." "No," Rixa replied. "That is technology." She tasted bitterness on her tongue. Technology did not belong in this part of her world. Only one group would come here. Poachers. Alien hunters who traveled from world to world, capturing rare species and selling them. Rixa knew their tactics. They came silently. They used nets that paralyzed creatures. They tracked anyone considered valuable. Rixa had fought them before. They always ran when she appeared. But today felt different. Evan leaned toward her. "How many?" She listened. The jungle spoke to her. The shifting leaves, the trembling branches, the soft crunch of boots touching ground. "3," she said. "Maybe 4. And they're looking for you," he guessed. "Yes," Rixa said coldly. "They think I am a rare Deathworld specimen." Evan raised an eyebrow. "They're not wrong." Her glare could have burned a hole through him. "Not the time." A rustle came from above. Rixa pushed Evan aside as a rope net crashed down from the branches. The net sparked with blue electricity, strong enough to stun a giant horned beast. If it caught them, they were finished. Evan rolled across the ground, barely missing it. "Great," he muttered. "We're being kidnapped." "No," Rixa said, rising to full height. "They want me alive." "You, they will throw away." Evan stood up with fire in his eyes. "They'll try." Before Rixa could reply, a sharp whistle cut through the forest. Then the poachers came. 4 figures in metal armor stepped out, masks glowing red, rifles loaded with tranquilizer spikes that killed smaller creatures. Instantly, their leader, a tall alien with 2 frilled crests, pointed straight at Rixa. "There," he said. "The Deathworld girl." Rixa growled low in her throat. It wasn't fear, it was anger. But Evan stepped forward unexpectedly. Rixa grabbed his arm. "What are you doing?" "What I always do," he whispered. "Something stupid that works." Before she could stop him, Evan raised both hands and shouted, "Hey, you want her? You go through me first." The poachers paused. Then laughed. The leader tilted his head mockingly. "Human, here? This planet must be truly cursed." The others aimed their rifles at Evan. Rixa felt heat blast through her chest, anger like she hadn't felt in years. "You touch him," she snarled, "and I break every bone in your body." The leader smirked. "You? Alone?" "No," Evan said calmly, stepping beside her. "She's not alone." And the way he said it, steady, unshaking, sent a chill down Rixa's spine. The poachers fired. Rixa moved first, faster than their eyes could follow. She blocked 2 spikes with her blade and threw herself behind a tree. Evan dove behind a rock, grabbing a fallen branch sharpened by storm winds. Not a perfect weapon, but he didn't need perfect. He needed effective. One poacher rushed toward him. Evan kicked dirt into the alien's face, then smashed the branch against the side of the helmet. Sparks flew. The poacher stumbled, dazed. Evan struck again, this time with full force. The alien dropped unconscious. Rixa, on the other side, disarmed another poacher and flipped him over her shoulder. The alien hit the ground with a crack. The leader shouted in fear. 2 Deathworlders? Rixa froze. Deathworlders? He was calling Evan that too. Before she could think, another poacher lunged at her, but Evan's voice rang out. Rixa, left! She reacted instantly, spinning and slicing the attacker's weapon in half. It was like they had fought together for years. When the dust settled, only the leader remained. He backed up slowly, trembling. This is impossible. Humans are weak. Evan stepped forward, wiping sweat and dirt from his face. Maybe some are, he said. But you ran into the wrong one. Rixa walked beside him, eyes glowing. And the wrong girl. The leader dropped his weapon and sprinted into the trees. Rixa didn't chase him. There was no need. Silence returned, broken only by Evan's heavy breathing. He leaned against a tree. You okay? Rixa asked. Evan chuckled weakly. I'll survive, again. Rixa stared at him, confused and impressed. A human. Barely armed, injured, outnumbered, outgunned. And he still fought like a Deathworld native. She whispered softly, almost afraid to say it out loud. You are dangerous, human. Evan grinned tiredly. Good, because so are you. For the first time, she didn't mind being compared. Because now she knew she wasn't the only Deathworlder. And she wasn't the only one worth fearing. After the poachers fled, the jungle felt different, quieter, heavier, as if the whole planet was waiting to see what would happen next. Rixa stood still, her chest rising and falling with slow, controlled breaths. Evan leaned against a thick tree, wiping sweat and dirt from his face. The air smelled like burned leaves and electric dust. You fought well, Rixa finally said. Evan managed a small smile. I try. No, she corrected. You fought like someone who has been doing this his whole life. Evan lowered his eyes. Maybe I have. She didn't ask what that meant. She could feel the weight behind his words. Humans often hid pain in jokes, but their eyes always told the truth, and Evan's eyes were a storm. Rixa scanned the forest again. We must move. The leader will return with more. Poachers travel in packs of 10 or 20. Great, Evan muttered. More friends. She grabbed his arm gently. Human humor will not save you. It hasn't killed me either. Rixa ignored that and pulled him forward. Come, we go to the beacon spire. It stands on higher ground. If we reach it, your rescue signal will travel farther. Evan nodded. Lead the way. They moved through the jungle with quiet steps. The trees rose taller here, their branches covered with glowing vines that reacted to sound. Every whisper sent light crawling up the bark like nervous fire. Evan stared at the glowing plants. Your world is beautiful. Beautiful and deadly, she replied. Like you. Rixa stopped walking. Evan blinked, realizing what he said. I meant deadly. I mean beautiful. She held up her hand. Stop talking. He shut his mouth immediately. She could feel heat rising in her cheeks, which annoyed her more than the poachers. They continued walking uphill. The jungle grew denser. Rixa cut through the thick vines with her blade. Evan followed closely, copying her movements, stepping. Where she stepped, she noticed. He was learning her rhythm, her survival habits, her instincts, not as a student. As a partner, that realization sent a strange warmth through her chest. After an hour of climbing, Evan finally asked, Rixa, How long have you been alone? Her steps slowed. Why does that matter? Because, he said softly, most people don't survive alone on a death world. I am not most people. I know, Evan replied. But even strong people feel lonely. Rixa didn't respond. Loneliness. The word felt sharp, uncomfortable. She changed the subject. Your leg. It grows worse. Evan shrugged. Hurts. But I'm still walking. That is the problem, she said. Humans ignore pain until it kills them. And your kind? We fight pain until nothing can kill us. He smiled. Maybe that's why we work well together. Her chest tightened again, annoying, confusing, unwanted. She increased her pace. Another 30 minutes of climbing brought them near the top ridge. The jungle here was thinner, the air colder. A long stone tower stood ahead, cracked and covered. In moss. Evan frowned. This is your beacon? No, this is ancient, she said. Older than my tribe, but it stands high. Your signal will travel farther from here. Evan looked at her, surprised. Why help me this much? You barely know me. Rixa stopped walking. The sky above them glowed with twin suns, one golden, one pale blue. Their light made shadows long and soft. She turned to him slowly. You are the first off-worlder I have met who did not scream at me. You are the first who did not run. You are the first who fought beside me, not behind me. Evan blinked. He wasn't expecting that. She added quietly. I do not want to lose the only creature who understands what I am. Evan's voice softened. Rixa, you're not alone anymore. She stared at him long, searching, almost vulnerable. Then, she looked away. Her heart was beating too loudly. That annoyed her. Before either could say more, a loud crack echoed in the air. A tranquilizer spike slammed into a tree inches from Evan's head. Rixa pulled him down instantly. They found us. More spikes rained from the trees. The poachers had returned with reinforcements, 6, maybe 7. Evan crawled behind a fallen log. We can't stay here. No, Rixa said, eyes blazing. We run to the top. The spire has stone cover. They sprinted uphill as spikes flew around them. One grazed Evan's shoulder. He winced but kept running. Rixa moved faster, using her blade to deflect projectiles mid-air. At the top, they dove behind ancient stone ruins. Rixa breathed hard. Evan checked the emergency beacon in his pocket. If I activate this now, the signal might reach my ship. Do it, she said. He pressed the button. The beacon lit bright red, broadcasting. Down the hill, the poachers screamed orders. I see them. Take the human alive, kill the girl. Don't let them reach the spire, Rixa growled. They want me dead. Evan gripped his makeshift weapon. Over my dead body. Rixa turned sharply toward him. Her voice was low. No, over their dead bodies. And she stepped out from behind the stone, eyes glowing like twin suns, ready to fight, even if it meant dying beside the human who refused to leave her behind. For the first time in her life, Rixa felt something impossible. She wasn't fighting for her world anymore. She was fighting for someone, and that was far more dangerous. At the moment, Rixa stepped out from behind the stone ruins. The poachers froze. Her eyes glowed like fire in the fog. Her blade reflected the morning light. And beside her stood Evan, injured, tired, but holding his broken branch like a warrior from a forgotten story. The sight confused the poachers. Deathworld girl was expected. A human fighting beside her? That was not part of the galaxy's rules. The leader shouted, "Take them down." Now, Rixa moved first. She sprinted across the ridge with speed so sharp it cut through the wind. She dodged tranquilizer spikes as if she had memorized the air itself. Evan followed, not fast, not perfect, but precise. He moved like someone who refused to die, even when the universe demanded it. A poacher charged him, shouting. Evan ducked and hit him with a heavy swing of his branch. The alien collapsed. Still works, Evan muttered. Rixa stabbed another poacher and kicked his weapon off the cliff. Human weapons are ridiculous, she said. And cheap, Evan added. The battle was chaotic shouts, sparks, broken stone, Rixa's blade slicing the air. Evan fought with instinct, not style. But his timing matched hers so perfectly it felt rehearsed. They were two different storms crashing into the same enemy. The last poacher standing was the leader. He aimed a large cannon-like weapon at them. Shaking with fear, "You creatures don't understand," he screamed. "The galaxy is not ready for two monsters like you." Evan stepped forward. "We're not monsters." Rixa stepped beside him. "We're survivors." The leader fired. A deafening blast of energy raced toward them. Rixa pulled Evan down, and the blast hit the stone behind them, exploding in a cloud of dust. Evan grabbed a broken piece of stone and threw it with everything he had. It hit the weapon in the leader's hand. The cannon sparked, malfunctioned, and exploded. The leader flew backward, crashing into a tree. Silence. Rixa stood still, breathing hard. Evan leaned on his knees, catching his breath. Slowly, they looked at each other. Seconds passed like a lifetime. Rixa spoke first. "You almost died." Evan smiled weakly. "You saved me." "You saved me too." He took a step closer, brushing dust from his hair. "I guess we're even again." "No," Rixa said quietly. "We are not even. We are connected." The word made Evan pause. "Connected." He swallowed softly. "Rixa, you don't have to stay here. Once rescue arrives, you can." Before he could finish, a loud hum filled the air. Evan looked up. A massive silver ship came through the clouds, sleek, powerful, shining like a metal star. His rescue. Earth Alliance. The beacon worked. Rixa stepped back, her heart sinking. She didn't like the feeling. It felt like losing something she only just found. Evan noticed her silence. "You'll be safe here," he said. "You'll defeat the poachers. And your world." "My world is empty," Rixa said. He blinked. "Empty?" She nodded. "I always believed I was alone. I believed I was the only Deathworlder. But you changed that." Evan felt his chest tighten. "Rixa." She looked down, her voice low but steady. "I do not fear beasts. I do not fear storms, but I fear losing the first person who sees me as more than a weapon." The ship lowered to the ground. Soldiers stepped out, pointing scanner lights at the area, weapons ready. Evan raised his hand to show he was alive. One soldier ran toward him. "Sir, are you injured? We need to take you home." Evan shook his head. "Not without her." The soldier blinked. "Her?" Rixa stood behind him, tall, fierce, beautiful, in a dangerous way. The soldiers stepped back instantly. "Sir," the soldier whispered, "that creature." Evan turned sharply. "She is not a creature. She is my partner." Rixa's eyes widened. She didn't show emotion easily. But this time, she couldn't hide it. Evan reached out his hand. "Rixa, come with me." She stared at his hand. On Varrox, Evan, touching hands meant trust, shared danger, shared fate. "Are you sure?" she asked softly. "Yes," he said. "Because the galaxy is wrong about humans, and wrong about you. We are not monsters. We are survivors, stronger together." Rixa exhaled deeply, a sound halfway between a sigh and a laugh. Then she took his hand. The soldiers stepped aside as the Deathworld girl and the human walked together toward the ship. Two beings the galaxy feared for different reasons, united by something deeper: respect, loyalty, and an unspoken bond forged in danger. As they stepped onto the ramp, Evan whispered, "You're not the only Deathworlder anymore." Rixa squeezed his hand gently. "And neither are you." The ship doors closed. A new legend began.